One night at a small, unremarkable coffee shop, a waitress named Jane is busy serving customers. But because of her looks, she often becomes the target of harassment from the men hanging around the place. Eventually, she reaches her limit. When one man crosses the line and tries to touch her, Jane snaps and strikes back. Jane wants to keep her job, but she refuses to keep being humiliated by people like this. Her outburst costs her everything, and she is fired on the spot. The man she attacked cannot accept the embarrassment. Along with his gang, RA waits for Jane in the parking lot and launches a vicious assault, beating her down until she collapses. But Jane is not someone who stays down for long. She fights back immediately. She gets back on her feet, strikes first, and takes down anyone who dares to come near her. Even one man who tries to run away is caught and beaten unconscious. Jane's courage is not accidental. Since childhood, she has trained in martial arts with her father. More than 10 years ago, her father, a skilled fighter, traveled to Hong Kong to compete in a major tournament. He never returned. Ever since then, Jane has carried the fear and uncertainty of his disappearance deep in her heart. Now grown and hardened by life, Jane decides it is time to find answers. She packs her belongings, says goodbye to her mother, and heads to Hong Kong to uncover the truth about her father. But as a newcomer in a foreign city, she has no idea what dangers are waiting for her. Moments after stepping off the bus, Jane is deceived by a group of local thugs and lured into a deserted area. Realizing they only want to rob her, she fights back immediately. She manages to knock down several of them, but they are simply too many, and she is quickly overwhelmed. Just as things turn desperate, a woman witnesses the injustice and steps in to help. Dazed and barely conscious, Jane only sees this mysterious figure effortlessly defeat the attackers before she finally passes out. When Jane wakes up, she finds herself inside a temple. This is the moment her real fight begins. Welcome to Lady Bloodfight. The woman who saved Jane is revealed to be Master Shu, a member of the Wudong sect in Hong Kong. During her recovery, Jane works quietly around the temple, cleaning, helping without complaint, and even caring for the remains of a dead bird. Her actions do not go unnoticed by Master Shu. 5 years earlier, Master Shu herself had fought in an underground tournament. In the final match, she faced a female disciple from Shaolin. Their battle was intense, filled with powerful techniques, and neither side could claim a clear victory. When the prize money could not be divided fairly, the organizers made a final decision. Both fighters would each find a female disciple to represent them in the next competition, and only then would the true superior be decided. For nearly 5 years, Master Shu searches for the right female disciple. With only 3 months left before the next competition, Jane arrives at the temple by pure coincidence. Jane's true goal is to enter the tournament, but at her current skill level, she is clearly not what Master Shu is looking for. If Jane were to compete like this, it would almost certainly mean death. Hearing this, Jane prepares to leave, but Master Shu pauses and chooses to trust fate. She sets a condition. If Jane can save a small bird that is on the brink of death, she will accept her as a disciple and allow her to enter the competition. Using complex Wudong techniques, Master Shu channels her energy into the bird. Right before Jane's eyes, the bird comes back to life and flies away. What Jane does not realize is that everything she witnessed was an illusion. Still, from that moment on, Master Shu begins training her. This marks the start of an intense 3-month regimen. Jane's first task is simple but brutal. She must practice her stance every single day, rain or wind, starting the moment she opens her eyes in the morning. For a beginner, the training is overwhelming. But after 2 months of relentless effort, Jane's Wudong Kung Fu improves at an astonishing pace. Her strength grows rapidly, though she remains far below Master Shu's level. She cannot even ring the massive temple bell using just one hand. At the same time, something unusual happens at the Shaolin martial arts school. A mysterious young woman appears and arrogantly challenges 10 fighters at once. One tall and powerful female student steps forward to face her, but she is quickly overwhelmed by the girl's raw and overwhelming strength, despite her lack of real combat experience. That moment makes Shaolin realize the truth. This mysterious girl is the perfect candidate to represent them. Her name is Ling, a wandering fighter with no permanent home. She is offered food, shelter, and 3 months of training, along with the promise that once trained, even seasoned warriors will not be able to defeat her. Ling accepts, and the 3 months pass in the blink of an eye. The under...
I want to transform you because you will fight for me.
The underground tournament, held once every 5 years, finally begins. Female fighters from around the world gather, each one known for their brutality. Before the matches start, every contestant signs a death waiver. Only then does the competition officially begin. Jane's first opponent is a taekwondo fighter with devastating kicks. Under a relentless barrage of strikes, Jane begins to falter, giving her opponent a clear opening to land a heavy blow. She takes a deep breath, steadies herself, and slowly starts controlling the rhythm of the fight. In truth, Jane's skill is far greater than she shows at first. It is simply her first match, and she is still tense. Once she regains control, she delivers a powerful kick that sends her opponent flying out of the arena, securing her victory. Elsewhere, a heavily built female fighter steps onto the stage, her muscles so large that she looks more masculine than most men. Her opponent, however, is a calm and gentle-looking girl. To everyone's shock, a single punch from the quiet girl is enough to knock the larger fighter down. Match after match unfolds, each competitor revealing their unique strength. Jane feels the crushing tension of the arena, especially when a ruthless fighter named Ang appears. Even after her opponents fall, Ang continues her assault, repeatedly kicking them until they are badly injured. The final match of the day features Ling from Shaolin against a fighter from Israel. With her refined technique and overwhelming presence, Ling swiftly throws her opponent out of the arena, bringing the first round of the tournament to a close. The winners are given time to rest, but Jane does not stay idle. She goes searching for the thugs who stole her wallet earlier. Using everything she has learned, she takes them down one by one and finally recovers the photo of her father. However, her actions are witnessed by Master Shu. Furious that her teachings were used to beat street criminals, Master Shu expels Jane and no longer recognizes her as a disciple. Lost and overwhelmed, Jane stares at her father's photo. Inside her belongings, she finds a business card from one of the tournament officials she met at the arena. This leads her to Kazumi, a member of the competition's organizing committee. When Jane shows him the photo, Kazumi recognizes her father. He reveals that 10 years ago, Jane's father did enter the tournament and even made it to the finals, but then vanished without a trace before the last match. When Jane presses for more answers, Kazumi refuses to say anything further. The next day, the second round begins, this time featuring weapon battles. As soon as the gong sounds, the first match starts. A fighter dressed in white wields a spear and immediately dominates the arena against an opponent armed with nunchaku. The nunchaku fighter is only effective at close range, while the spear keeps her constantly under pressure. But in a sudden reversal, the nunchaku fighter counters, overwhelms her opponent, and knocks the white-clad fighter out of the arena. Jane's turn comes next. She faces an opponent wielding a massive sword and chooses a similar weapon. The fight is intense, and Jane is pushed back by her opponent's superior strength. Still, she spots an opening, slashes her opponent's back, and follows up with a relentless attack. As her opponent staggers in confusion, Jane delivers a final kick that knocks her out cold, securing another victory. The next match is far more brutal. Ang steps into the arena against Cassidy, Jane's new friend. With pure arrogance, Aung discards her weapon. In a single strike, she shatters Cassidy's arm and then unleashes a merciless beating. When Cassidy tries to surrender and crawl out of the arena, Aung picks up her blade and slashes her throat, killing her in front of Jane's eyes. Jane's only friend dies right there, leaving her devastated and broken. Things grow even darker when Jane learns that her next opponent is Aung herself. Though fear grips her, Jane forces herself to stay calm. At the same time, Ling fights fiercely in the semifinals and emerges victorious. Now it is Jane's turn to face Aung. With determination in her eyes, she braces herself against Aung's savage assault. She is knocked down and beaten relentlessly. The fight is brutal beyond belief, and everyone assumes Jane is dead. But against all expectations, she rises again. This time, she attacks with pure ferocity, striking Aung over and over until her opponent is completely helpless and finally defeated. Back in the waiting area, Kazumi appears and reveals the truth. 10 years ago, Jane's father also reached the finals, only to be killed by Kazumi to secure a winning bet. Now Kazumi intends to do the same to Jane, but seeing her severely injured state, he decides to postpone his plan. Badly wounded, Jane seeks out Master Shu and begs to be healed so she can avenge her father's death. At first, Master Shu refuses. Then she recalls an old saying and the photo left behind by Jane's father, which warns that the greatest weapon of evil is turning good people away from their path. Realizing what is truly at stake, Master Shu decides she cannot allow Kazumi to win this time. She heals Jane through the night and stands beside her the next day, returning as her coach for the final match. When Kazumi sees that Jane has fully recovered, panic begins to set in. The final match soon begins, pitting Jane against Ling. Still suffering from her severe injuries, Jane can only defend herself, taking hit after hit without the chance to strike back. Everyone believes she is about to lose. Until she finds strength in the image of her father encouraging her to keep going. Jane rises again, pushing aside the pain and launching a fierce counterattack. Blow after blow lands, building momentum, until a final kick sends Ling crashing into the water. In that moment, Jane emerges as the true champion. Kazumi panics and attempts to escape, but he is quickly captured. His crimes are finally exposed, including his role in the death of Master Shu's family member. Killing Kazumi would change nothing, so he is handed over to the authorities to face justice. With the truth revealed, the long-standing conflict between Wudong and Shaolin finally comes to an end. The two sects reconnect, set aside their rivalry, and begin training new disciples together, bringing the story to a powerful and hopeful close. So the moral of the story is if life beats you down, train harder and keep going, meaning quitting is clearly not an option.